7th year of the Islamic calendar, known as the Hijri, the city of Medina had secured a temporary peace. But just 150 kilometers to the north, a massive threat was quietly gathering strength. This was Khaibar. It functioned as a strategic headquarters where factions orchestrated the plots to eliminate the Muslim state. This map shows the proximity of the danger. Khaibar's leaders had forged a pact with the formidable Ghazwa-e-Khaibar tribe, offering them half of the region's massive annual harvest in exchange for an alliance to march south and surround Medina. To avoid being besieged, the Muslim army could not wait for the threat to come. They mobilized their exhausted forces and marched directly toward Khaibar's fortified walls. This diagram reveals the defensive complex, 8 newly constructed fortresses linked by underground tunnels. Inside were 10,000 warriors and stockpiled rations to outlast years of siege. The Muslim army captured the outer strongholds, but their momentum stopped entirely at the primary central fortress, Khimous. For over 20 days, the siege held at a brutal standstill. The Muslim soldiers endured freezing winter rains and continuous volleys of arrows from the high walls, all while their food supplies dwindled. Conventional military tactics had failed. The Muslim army was caught in a bottleneck, slowly dying of starvation outside walls that refused to break. With morale at its lowest, Prophet Muhammad made a sudden declaration. He announced that the following day he would hand the flag to a man who loves God and his messenger, and through him, victory would be achieved. The next morning, the camp waited to see which commander would be chosen. To the surprise of those gathered, the Prophet called for someone who had not yet been on the front lines, Ali. There was a specific reason Ali had been held back. He was suffering from ashub-e-chash, a severe, agonizing eye ailment that left him practically blind. Historians record that the Prophet applied his own saliva to Ali's eyes, and the inflammation vanished instantly. Ali was then handed the white flag of the Islamic army. Where supplies and human endurance had reached their limits, the fate of the forces now rested entirely on a single chosen champion. As Ali approached the gates of Khimous, the doors opened. Out stepped Marhab, Khaibar's most feared warrior, shouting boasts of his undefeated record to intimidate the Muslim camp. Ali stood before him and announced himself with the title his mother had given him at birth, Hijri, meaning the lion. The combat was brief. Ali swung his sword Zulfiqar, striking down the supposedly invincible giant in a single exchange. Seeing their champion fall, the defenders panicked and retreated inside the fortress, bolting the colossal iron gate shut to reset the stalemate. But the stalemate was over. Ali marched to the entrance, gripped the massive iron door, which required 40 men to move, and physically tore it from its hinges to use as a shield. By tearing the door from its hinges, Ali bypassed the physical bottleneck and broke the confidence of a defense that had previously seemed impossible to breach. Following the fall of Khimous, the Prophet offered a strategic treaty. The inhabitants of Khaibar could remain and farm their lands freely, provided half of their annual harvest was sent to Medina. These dense palm groves were a critical resource. The influx of grain and dates from the treaty ended the starvation of the community virtually overnight. This agricultural wealth provided the capital Medina needed to modernize. The surplus was used to purchase horses, heavy armor, and weaponry, significantly increasing the Islamic army's material strength. With the northern conspirators neutralized and their economy stabilized, Medina's borders were finally secure from multi-front attacks. The material and strategic weight gained at Khaibar shifted the balance of power in the region. This new stability gave the Muslim state the influence needed to march on Mecca just 1 year later, securing the city without a single drop of blood.